That's right guys, with 2021 being full of a lot more chances for gaming, I thought the start of a new year would be the perfect opportunity to rank every game I played in 2021 from worst to best. Now the only caveat on this video is that they have to be games that I played between the start of January 2021 and the 10th of December 2021, as that's when I've started this video. They do not have to be games that were only released in 2021 however. And of course, all of the rankings here are based on my personal opinion, so if you don't agree with my opinion on a game, that's kinda your problem. But do feel free to leave a comment saying what should have been ranked differently. But without further ado, let's get down to the list. Number 34, Vampire. This action-adventure game was released in 2018 to reasonably good reviews, and after it was made free on PlayStation Plus, I gave it a go. Quickly though, I learned that this isn't my style of game. There's a lot of dialogue and, well, I'm one of those people who likes to fast click through the dialogue, so it didn't take long for the gameplay to seem a bit unengaging to me and ultimately result in me turning off the game.
I'll do the rest of the job. Just leave me.
Say that I'm wrong all you like in the comments, it just didn't leave a good first impression to me, so I went on to games that I would enjoy more. So, on to 33, Crossout. Now this one I really hate to place down low. This free-to-play vehicle combat game seemed right up my alley, and I really enjoyed the combat and multiplayer. And not forgetting the great customization that made you feel like you were in the Mad Max universe. But what places this game so low is its story mode. The missions are so boring and repetitive, and the combat is incredibly easy up until the first boss, which I tried like 12 times and could not beat. Which sadly resulted again in me shelving this game. Number 32, Stranded Deep. This survival game has a simple premise. After a plane crash, you have to survive in the treacherous oceans, trying to find the items and resources that you need to survive. Now I enjoyed fighting for my survival, however there's a couple of things I didn't like. I didn't like the little mechanics like food poisoning and UV light, which if you didn't pay attention to them would cause your death, but more importantly, I didn't like how terrifying it is when you're attacked at sea. Yeah, no thank you. Number 31, Just Cause 4. Now this one really hurts me. I have fond memories of playing Just Cause 2 many and many a times through, and even though I felt Just Cause 3 wasn't living up to its predecessor, it was still an enjoyable game. Just Cause 4, however, felt like it continued to step in the wrong direction. Just the controls felt wrong, the story felt a bit bland and like it was repeating old tropes, and they could never really live up to my hopes for the series. And that's just such a shame, because although I'm sure it's a great game, it just never lives up to how good 2 is in my eyes. Number 30, Hollow Knight. This indie darling is a great side-scrolling adventure set in a beautiful dystopian setting. The enemies look amazing, and even some of the easiest enemies in the game can be a challenge if you're not prepared for them. And not forgetting to mention all the variety of powers that you can unlock to defeat your enemies. I managed to get a fair way into the game before the difficulty though became just too much for me. It's nothing against the game, it's just a case of I'm not good at this style of game typically. So only because I'm not that good at this game is it being placed so low. It's actually a really good game, you should give it a go if you haven't already. And at number 29, it's you liking and subscribing. I'm just kidding, but if you're enjoying the video, it would be greatly appreciated if you could.
So, actually at 29, it's Rocket League.
I'm sure many of you are very familiar with this vehicular sporting game. It's very popular amongst streamers and it has a great competitive scene. Coupling this with the large variety of cosmetic items and the cool but easy to pick up control scheme, it's a fun game just to pop into and play a couple of rounds. The only reason it is being placed so low on the list is that firstly, I'm not the biggest fan of football, and secondly, some matches can feel very much one-sided as you're placed against someone who has mastered the controls, and in any game that this happens, motivation of new players just drops. So, on to 28, The Witness. A beautifully tough puzzle adventure game with a unique minimalist aesthetic where you get no instructions whatsoever on how to solve any of the puzzles. When simplifying the game down to this, you may think that it turns people off, but that's not the case. The thrill of working out the puzzles yourself is infectious. And this is shown by the fact that this is the first game I actually got to the end of, with the help of some guides. But due to the fact that it has no story or action, I personally couldn't put this game up any higher on my list. Number 27, Abzu. Thanks to the PlayStation Play at Home incentive during the COVID lockdowns, I got to play this truly beautiful game. The environments are gorgeous, the mechanics are lovely, and despite it being a wordless narrative, it's a very engaging game as you travel through this aquatic wonderworld. The only reason this one's so low is that it's just a bit short. If there was a bit more of a post-game to it, it'd be excellent. But it's still a very calming and relaxing game, and I would highly recommend giving it a go. Number 26, LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2. The LEGO games have and always will be fun. They're simplistic in their controls and difficulty, and they tell an engaging and interesting story full of interesting and colourful characters. And as LEGO games have developed over the years, they've grown bigger with lots more quests, challenges and puzzles for you to solve to get that ever tempting 100%.
I claim this in the name of Avalon, whatever it may be.
And for those very reasons, I enjoyed the game. It's just not going up any higher on this list simply because at times there's a little bit too much to do, and the story just seems a bit childish and saturated with too many characters and references.
If you have your camera with you, dear.
And with that, on to number 25, Zombie Army 4, Dead War.
Another game I acquired free through PlayStation Plus, this third-person zombie shooter is a great game for any zombie and horror fanatics, as it's full of jump scares and eerie scenes. And despite not having played a lot of this game, I'm happy to place it here in my opinion, as the controls felt great, the pacing of the story felt even, and its visuals were both pretty and spooky at the same time. Time will only tell if the game stays this high on my list as I play it a bit more, but I mean, it's a zombie shooter. Who doesn't love running around shooting and blowing up zombies? Number 24, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, specifically the Blackout mode. My first proper exploration into the Battle Royale genre began with this great game. The zombies and the multi felt alright to me, but they never felt that special, not like Blackout. It was just what I needed. The gameplay of PUBG wrapped in the Call of Duty packaging, filled with nods to the multiplayer and zombies. It was heaven. And even for someone like me, who prefers to hide rather than engaging and hunting down people, it was incredibly fun. And it was a great nostalgia trip to go back to the game when PlayStation made it one of their monthly free games. Number 23, Pokemon Unite.
Pokemon Unite!
The first of a couple of mobile games in this list, this game released midway through this year allows you to control one of a selection of Pokemon in a 5v5 tournament to score points in the enemy's goals. It's a great game to play with controls that are simple to pick up but hard to master, and with a large roster of Pokemon to choose from, you can pick which playstyle suits you. And with a battle pass, seasonal events, new items and mons always arriving, it's a good free filler game to have on your phone. The only downside is you need a pretty good signal to play it, as otherwise you're going to face the dreaded lag or DCing. Two Little Ducks 22, Plants vs Zombies, Battle for Neighborville.
That zombie has a beautiful voice.
A bright coloured third person shooter with a colourful diverse roster of characters. And a story with a variety of different mission types. What more could you be looking for? It could be easily overlooked as an unneeded spin-off from the mobile series, but it's a beautifully styled and capable shooter and a pleasant change from the norm for the genre. The only reason it's not higher on this list is that I didn't go back to it that much. I kept playing other games that are higher up on this list. Number 21, Doom. This absolute classic of a game is always a blast to go back to, and you can't really say you're a gamer if you've never played it. Fact! I don't feel I need to explain much about this early first-person shooter, apart from the fact that it is and always will be fun to step into the boots of the Doomslayer and kill the armies of hell. But sadly, I'm not going to rate it higher on this list, because as much as I love the game, others on this list were either new and interesting to me, or had more nostalgic value. And that leads us on to number 20, Genshin Impact. A free-to-play action RPG that any gamer could not have escaped the advertising for this year. But with it being another game filled with a colourful roster of characters, each with different play styles, it wasn't a letdown.
Power cord!
Not forgetting to mention its extremely large map with varying terrains and plenty of activities to do, giving you plenty of stuff to keep you busy and entertained.
As a dutiful maid would.
The story though was the weak point for me. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't grip me, but the open world did. So if you're a fan of open world games like Zelda or Final Fantasy, I would strongly suggest giving it a go. And from a brand new game to one we all know, at number 19, Minecraft. Okay, so here's another game on the list that needs little or no intro. This sandbox survival game is beloved by streamers and gamers of all sorts, and of course had to be on the list somewhere. The addictive mining and construction mechanics are what keeps bringing people back time and time again, and will do for many more years. But sadly, I'm not going to be putting it up higher on this list despite the fact that I love this game, simply because although it's had updates, the base game doesn't feel like it's changed much over the years.
So wasting no time, let's head on to number 18, Midnight Club LA. This long-running Rockstar racing series has long been forgotten in favour of the Grand Theft Auto games, but this entry in the series had an excellent open world and had great replayability.
So not the time to die on me.
I've loved going back to it on my streams, and it has a great selection of cars and customization options, meaning there's a lot of fun to be had. I'm placing it here on the list for two reasons. One, the story and the characters are a bit bland, and secondly, I'm still haunted by the memories of losing all my cars in a past playthrough. So let's move on to our lighter game in the list at number 17, Snake Rivals. This is the final mobile game to make this list and has saved me many a times from boredom while away from my consoles. It's probably the simplest game on this list as well, being based off one of the most classic games of all time. However, it has a pleasant twist on the classic game by bringing it into the Battle Royale genre. The game has 3 different easy to learn game modes, but more importantly it has an incredibly large selection of cool and comedic snakes, which you can customise to your own personal taste. Not forgetting to mention that this game also has a battle pass and the ability to clan up with other people, making it an excellent game to play on your break or on the train. But again, it doesn't go higher on this list sadly because it has the same problem as other multiplayer mobile games, the constant need for a good internet connection, which you can't always get while you're on the move. So, at number 16, it's Rabbids Go Home. Another game from my past that I've been playing on stream and in videos, this 2009 Wii game actually lived up to my memories. It's a comedic action adventure game where you control 2 rabbits in a shopping trolley as they travel around stealing stuff to make a tower of rubbish all the way up to the moon. Sure, the comedy's a little childish, but the controls are great, and what surprised me the most as I was playing it were all the little details and mechanics that I never noticed when I played it as a kid, which made the game so much better in my now adult eyes. And back to another well-known game at number 15, we've got Fall Guys. This multiplayer game that allows you to play out your Squid Game and Total Wipeout fantasies was extremely popular, and it's frankly unsurprising that I played it too. Even if you're not great at the game, it's fun to play and see what funny situations might happen. And with it having multiple seasons, battle passes and tons of cosmetic items, there's always reasons to come back and play the game. But due to my abilities at the game, I simply couldn't place it any higher. And now for a game you may not know at number 14, Vigor. A free-to-play online shooter set in a post-apocalyptic Norway that plays out like other battle royale games like PUBG, but with some unique twists. Your goal is simple, survive and rebuild your shelter. You do this by heading out into the selection of maps to salvage supplies, ammo and weapons. But you need to be careful, other survivors aren't that friendly and won't hesitate to kill you for your supplies. And when you die, you lose everything that you went into the field with. It's a great twist on the shooter and battle royale genre, and considering it's free, why not give it a go while you can? And now, unlucky for some, at number 13, it's Ratchet Clank. This 2016 installment in the long-running PlayStation exclusive platforming series is a reimagining of the first game, and it's a great nostalgia trip.
Greetings, new fish. I'm
Captain Quark.
Playing as the heroic Lombax, you get to wield a vast and amazing selection of weapons. And you'll use all these weapons in funny and colourful ways to kill aliens and robots throughout the story. If you've never played a Ratchet & Clank game before, this is a good one to start with, as it's good fun for the whole family, and everyone needs a good non-online game these days as a change of pace.
So, what do I call you?
I suppose my proper designation is Warbot Defect B54296.
Maybe I'll just call you Clank.
And there's another great game that everyone is still hoping will have a remaster in at number 12, and that's the Simpsons Hit and Run. Now this is a classic, one of those games that you say to people and they just have nostalgic thoughts.
Learn to drive, dumbass.
This action-adventure game allows you to control the Simpsons family and Abzu around several open-world levels depicting the whole of Springfield. It's an interesting and funny story that just feels like it's been pulled straight out of an episode of the TV series.
I'm not a very good driver.
It's filled to the brim with gags and nods to the series as well as popular culture, and it was a great game for me to go back to and relive the memories of my youth.
Oh, that looks expensive.
This game boasts a great control scheme, a nice selection of cars for you to travel around in, and a great load of costumes for you to dress up the Simpsons family in. But sadly, while there are hardly any faults with the game, the last 3 missions are just a bit too repetitive, as they're the same mission just 3 times in a row. And any other games on this list that are higher up, I just spent a lot more time playing in the year 2021.
I will have my revenge. Okay, that's a lawsuit.
So with that, let's head on to number 11, Just Cause 3. Now I've already made my opinions heard on the 4th entry in this series, and while the 3rd entry still doesn't live up to the legend which is its predecessor, it is still a pretty good game. The introduction of the wingsuit was a great idea. Granted though, it did mean you spent a lot less time going around in vehicles, which I quite missed from Just Cause 2. But the game did a good job of maintaining Rico's deadliness, arming him with a wealth of weapons and tools to keep blowing stuff up. Coupling this with a strong story that actually feels meaningful to the protagonist, this is a really good game to play, but since it's affected by my love of Just Cause 2, it won't be being placed any higher. So, we've finally made it into the top 10, and here's one of the most popular multiplayer games about, Warzone. That's right, one of the biggest battle royales on the market and very popular amongst streamers to this day, and it's unsurprising that it's popular amongst other gamers and on my list. With multiple battle passes, seasonal events, and even a couple of different maps and game modes, why wouldn't you have fun? Now I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this game as I'm not the best at it and I'm sure a lot of you know a lot more about it than I do, but I do get some tasty moments in the occasional dub. I just love how it brought the COD formula into the battle royale genre a lot better than Call of Duty Black Ops 4 did. It's not perfect, as there definitely is a cheater problem, but it's certainly a fun time. Number 9. Control. One of the biggest games of 2019 that has an absolutely amazing story that makes you feel like an OP superhero. It's an intense and challenging game that literally holds nothing back. I absolutely loved flying around and gunning down the hiss, but that doesn't mean that they don't fight hard back. The story is really good as well, playing out mainly as an internal monologue, which really makes you feel like you are the protagonist of this game.
Shawshank Redemption. That's the name of the movie I was thinking of earlier.
Coupling this with a wide variety of powers that make you feel so OP, and a gun that can change into many deadly styles, why wouldn't you give this game a try? And the only reason I'm not placing it any higher on this list is simply because of my lack of interest in dialogue sections.
Thanks, Emily. I'm sure I'll have more questions soon.
But from certainly a modern classic to possibly one of the most classic games of all time at number 8, GoldenEye 007. This is possibly one of the most important games ever, as it's responsible for so many of the tropes and mechanics that we frankly take for granted today. Revolutionary and reactive AI is just one of the few things that this game introduced into gaming culture, as you travelled through the scenes from the movie of the same name. Sure, the controls were a bit hard for me to pick up, but that's because I'm not used to the N64 controls, but it is an amazing relic and a true classic game. Rare really outdid themselves with this game, and I'm so glad I got to play it and make some videos about it. And with that, another game I got free through PlayStation Plus at number 7, Concrete Genie. Okay, now this one is an absolutely beautiful artwork piece of a game, but probably one that not a lot of you have played. It tells an absolutely beautiful story about bullying that every young kid should learn, and how it doesn't pay to put people down. The gameplay is very unique as well, using drawings that you made for each of the genies which you'll be using to progress throughout the game, meaning you build a personal connection with each genie.
Look who's here!
I absolutely enjoyed every moment of this game. It's just such a shame that the story doesn't take that long to beat. That's why it's only at number 7.
What are you? Just a splotch of paint? Great. I picked up a hitchhiker. Okay then, splotch.
But from a relatively short game to one that takes a lot longer to complete at number 6, Need for Speed Payback. Now we all know the Need for Speed games are a popular series of open world racing games, and this one certainly is a good entry in the series. For once though, in a Need for Speed game, the story was actually engaging and interesting to me, as it told a story about revenge and grand heists.
Guys on board, Mac, get us out of town. Tyler and I will handle the bomb.
And as always, with plenty of races, jumps, drift sections and billboards scattered around the huge, beautiful map, there's plenty for you to be engaged with. And of course, not forgetting the great diversity of new and classic cars that you can personalise and upgrade to your tastes. I personally like that I can make a classic Chevrolet pickup truck one of my fastest cars.
Let's do this.
If you're a car fanatic, you should certainly give this game a try. It's well worth your time. Well, we finally made it to the top 5. Are you ready? Because one of the biggest multiplayer games comes in at number 5. Call of Duty Cold War. That's right, the third Call of Duty game to make the list, so you might be able to tell I'm a bit of a fan. The reason though that this one beats out Warzone is twofold. First of all, the multiplayer. I do love a good bit of multiplayer to unwind, especially after a hard day at work, and this one felt a lot like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 multiplayer, which was very much my favourite one in the series. But more importantly, what places this one higher for me is the zombies. I've never been that interested in the story of the zombies mode. It's always been about the gameplay, which is more important for me. And with a great mix of maps and the new Outbreak mode, it really didn't disappoint. I cannot tell you how long I spent trying to complete all the zombies gun challenges.
My team will complete the specimen analysis.
Once the specimen is in place, the station will initiate.
I may not be the best at a first-person shooter, but you can hardly go wrong with a Call of Duty game. So now at number 4 is a modded version of Minecraft, Pixelmon. Now, I'm a big Pokemon and Minecraft fan, and after knowing about Pixelmon for years and finally getting a gaming PC good enough to run it, I couldn't resist getting the game. There is so much that this mod has to offer, with hundreds of Pokemon wandering around all the various biomes. You can fill your time shiny hunting, completing challenges, battling the gyms, or even battling other players. This, in my opinion, is one of the best Pokemon experiences and makes you feel like a real Pokemon trainer. And when you're not in the mood to battle, you can always revert to the Minecraft classics of making amazing structures or going mining, or even taking part in the seasonal events that the servers hold. Seriously, if you like Pokemon and you have a PC good enough to run Java Edition, give this mod a go. Use an Ice Beam to end the match. Oh yeah! Your dare paid off. Oh, it certainly did. I had a feeling you were just going to lock yourselves into flies. So, what do you think made it to number 3? Well, I can tell you, it's Days Gone. Yep, that's right, another zombie game on the list, but this one's a bit different.
Who's that?
Now, I'm not usually a fan of motorcycles in video games, but in the apocalyptic Oregon with its hilly and mountainous terrain and its densely packed forests, it works really well, much better than a car would. And as you ride around, you have to fight off other survivors, as well as horde after horde of hungry zombies. Any engagement with these zombies can become very intense very fast, especially if you come across a screamer. But more importantly, it tells a great story filled with plot twists that I did not see coming, with plot lines all about brotherhood, loss and heroism.
What does it say?
Don't look at me, I just carved it.
It's an old Hindu proverb. My mother taught it to me. It reads, "Rivers do not drink their own water, trees do not eat their own fruit, and clouds do not swallow their own rain. What great ones have is always for the benefit of others."
But from one great story to another that just missed out on the top spot, at number 2, it's Horizon Zero Dawn. That's right, one of 2017's most highly rated games, with its blend of technology and traditional hunting styles. It's frankly unsurprising that it became a darling with gamers and reviewers, given its absolutely beautiful environments. And that's of course not forgetting to mention the deeply varied and intimidating robotic creatures that you get to hunt and slay with your equally awesome array of deadly weapons. As you can probably tell by this point, I absolutely love an open world action game. I love roaming, finding collectibles and killing enemies, and with this game meeting all of those requirements and more with its potent story about wanting to belong, it's an absolutely amazing title.
There can be no doubt now. You are a blessing made flesh, the will of the goddess incarnate.
It's really not that simple, Tirsa, but I guess it's close enough.
But that isn't enough for this amazing game to beat out what comes at number 1, as it did all of these, but better in my opinion. And at number 1, that is Borderlands 3. That's right, the looter shooter series that is Borderlands is one of my favourite series of games ever, and frankly, Borderlands 3 did not disappoint.
I will hunt once more. I am back. Glad to have you back.
I played this game in 2019, and much like its predecessor, it has infinite replayability to me, so I played it a few more times since.
Kill them! So, what are we going to do when we see a Malawan guy? Kill the Malawan guys! For Tyree! For the twin gods! Yeah, okay, gotta start this one over.
With one of the most diverse selection of weapons from any of the games on this list, and its absolutely beautiful cel-shaded graphics, it ticks 2 massive boxes for me.
What? That's Minos Prime, but it's been destroyed.
The story has lots of twists, with both funny and serious moments, as well as plenty of references to the past games in the series.
I'll hold them off! Bloody!
If I was to say there was one bad thing with the game, it'd be the battles with the twins, as they were a bit of a letdown for me, but not enough to taint my opinion on the game. But there you have it, all the games I played in 2021 ranked from worst to best. If you've liked this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm thinking of doing more ranked lists like this in the future, so if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a comment. And while you're at it, why not check out my Twitch channel, where I stream games that are nostalgic to me, as well as classic games from the past that I've never played before. Or equally, follow my Yestergaming EV page on Facebook and my Everyday Verite page on Instagram to be kept up to date on what I'm working on.
You have to do better than that.
But thank you again to everyone who's been watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Enemy care package above.